For Odin's, there's a lot on line because they want to prove that they are a top 4 team and they could secure a top 4 place by winning this match, depending on the result at the end of the day. So Odins are definitely looking for a win, and Slavs, why not end your season on a high after such a rough season? So I'm pretty sure that they want to have some fun with this last match against a team that they are considered to be doing against quite well. Let's find out what they play. We got 2 dual blades once again. Body fast, always on the dual blade, doing really well. Ragnarok, team captain, still on his poleaxe. Then let's see what we got. A lot of Frangian Shield Maiden and still Monastics. So kind of a surprise there. Still a lot of Cav, Chevalier's Monastics. On the other side we got Shield Maiden, Frangian, Spam, of course. It is, after all, the meta. A lot of Sicalian this time. Look at this. I think... okay, only 1 musket, but a lot of Sicalian still. So interesting to see from Slavs that they want to play so many. I'm curious to see if they have enough anti-cav though, considering all the monastics from Odin's. Will be good to see. We may be getting a defense if I look at it like this. But we'll have to find out. Alright, sorry for not switching by the way, but here it is. Odin's Legion versus Slavs. Teams are ready. And here are your units. Let me get them in a bit. Alright, so far we've only also had 1 bug with the Custom lobby, so that's been good. It's been going quite smoothly this time. Let's see what they decide to focus at the start of the game. Small amount of units going to that B tower. Odin's definitely want to take out the gate, it looks like. Scorpio's down, so B tower will most likely reach, considering there are no Falconetti. Yeah, heavy focus, yeah, alright, so Odin's have learned that you don't want to waste any time taking down a gate. It's not like there is an attempt from Slavs though to interrupt that battering ram, but still. We've seen some Sicalian militia throws, for example, interrupt that for a long time. Alright, so far pretty standard. Let's see how they try to engage it. So Varangian, Shield Maiden sitting on the side, double Varangian actually. So if you want to do a successful A defense, you need to of course hold the A point from both sides, because the attacker should be coming in from both sides at all times. And potentially the attacker can also go through the gate, of course. But once the attacker is on the A point, that's when it becomes really hard to hold the position actually, because the defender then can come in from both stairs as well. So you need to make sure as the attacker that the defender cannot come back on the A point and clear you, because the defender will have a shorter route of resupply at the start of this game. And another thing the defender can do is also come in from this like left side position and make sure that they flank at least this left siege tower. The right siege tower is a bit hard to flank because it's more of a travelable position here, and it can also get punished really well. Body fast though, doing what he does best on his dual blade. He's going to go for the B point. Let's find out where the rest of his team goes. Maybe a full gate rush here. Yeah, nothing at the gate, so Slavs is just saying, alright, 15v50 me bro. And Odin so far just want to check it out first, see what's up. Alright, Slavs making a quick retreat there to make sure they have the flank going. That's triple Shield Maiden hiding here in that tower. Alright, Odin's deciding otherwise. They don't want to even capture the supply. Surprised to see that. They're splitting up. Ooh, Monastic's going to B, it looks like, together with Shield Maidens. That might be hard to counter here. Falconetti sitting beneath there. Dan is the only one protecting it. He's been doing really well with the hero kills, but currently on the musket. Ooh, this will be a B. Slavs are just sitting there waiting. Odins are just baiting them with that siege tower pretend. Picking up the kill against Fluffy by Eldit. That's nice. 14-15 right now in the favor of Odins. We're gonna focus in on the fight because lots of stuff happening right now. Some of the units from Odins are being caught, but the Odins are winning this fight here at the center. Trap is flying in. That's not gonna hit anything though. Nice flames there. Ooh, but those are from the defenders, so that's not good. Ruffles, Flamers are taken out. Ragnarok though, he is getting killed, but as team captain you might be fine sitting there. Lot of cav here. Armigers coming in actually. From Minimika. And also Odin's winning the fight on the A point as Slavs were retreating from the A point to the B point. So currently Odin's looks like they're winning on all sides, so the Slavs is winning this fight finally. And depending on how many unit kills they were able to get and how many units they were able to get out of the A point, Slavs might be having a small lead here. If you take a look at the top of the unit score, because Odin's units were running through the city unprotected for a long time. Interesting development, something we've not seen before to say the least. This probably wasn't the defense Slavs had planned for. Also having seen one of their scrims against Gun Faction for example. But it may have done them quite well. Odin's going to capture B point now. They still try to get these Varangian, which might really help them. That is Lufu's Varangian. Ooh, body fast, you gotta watch out there. Alright, nice getaway though. And we reset the map basically. Take a look at what has happened. So you can see a lot of units there are dead on the side of Odin's in that first fight that we saw, but also a bunch of units dead, especially Zikalian there, Vanblade losing its Flamers, still got a Shield Maidens though, but Triple Monastic died, Armingers, 2 of them died, so a lot of the cav from Odin's is gone. And we've seen how important cav can be, especially for the attacker on this map. Once you get your infantry on the final base point, you want to rotate back to the supply, get your cav out and come in again with a second unit. Odin's not wasting any time, they seem to know what they want to do. Couple of units from Slavs sitting at that base, safe spot here. Odin's capturing the supply, so let's see where they want to go now. So this is Fluffy and Eleonora. Now swapping units from this supply is not the smartest thing to do, so what they have got right now is probably what they're going to push with as well. Let's see if they want to go through the gate straight away or if they will actually set up back. Alright, so this is what's happening when you choose to swap units there. Easy pickup from the Red and Vipers there. Red and Vipers, by the way, really interesting unit. If you don't know, they poison the enemy, and that actually means they deal a lot of less damage, and can be very efficient against high damage units like Varangian or Shield Maiden. If they get plenty of stacks, suddenly they won't kill you as fast. Interesting here to see Slavs actually getting out of that point, and I think that's very smart because you don't want to get flanked from all directions, and Slavs is going to get out of the position. Odins have forced themselves on the wall, but they might not be together here. Falconetti, Zikalian and double Zikalian actually on the wall, so they could still participate in the fight and shoot down on that point. But nice flames here going on from Mist. Really good stopping most of the cav there, but some of the cav still getting through. Slavs fighting hot in that corner there. Falconetti shooting, but this is a nice engage here from the glaive. That's Kurak, he's trying to get them. Looks like Odins were a bit too aggressive there, but they are also still holding that supply. They're fighting back. They were able to hold their high ground. That's really important. That's good for them. Slavs slowly losing the fight at the supply. They are also starting to lose the fight at the base camp. Or are they? Because this Varangian still going strong. 2 of them. Shenji also still shooting. That's very important to keep them going. I do wonder if Pintero is seeing them because he might be going for it. Yep, there he goes. Diving for the Shenji. That's a lot of DPS that will be going down. And now some of the caps should be expected to come in from both sides. Let's see if they can get it. Ooh, Boyap, he's jumping down with his shield maidens on the right side. Big Trap is going to come in as Slavs reinforcements come. Odin's starting to get the point. Here comes Ruffle with his calf. That's going to be a good one. If he can angle it correctly. Cav versus Cav. Lufa's Cav is going in. Lixu, Dova sitting in the back there. He's gonna run and get a new unit though. Slav's taking control back of the final point. Another trap is going to fly in. Supply needs to be recaptured though if they want to get new units. Here comes Dan with his monastics. That's going to be a big charge. Can we see any units coming in? We do. Dan and Hurricane and RG Vethorn taking 3 heroes down. Another one dies with Eldit taking the kill. It's magic. Big charge there. Let's go. Robertchick taking a kill back though, but he's also taken out Hatchbreak for his magic. And this is going to be a huge trap, but he might trap on his own units. Let's see. Fluffy still on the point. Aknek still on the point. They continue to interrupt it. It's going to be really, really close. 470 to 460 on both sides. It's almost equal. Anything could happen right now. To be honest, Boyab coming in with Sons of Fenrir, but there's Cav there from Dova. Good charge, but not good enough. I think we need some more. Batch opening him still with his berserkers doing a great job. Boyab going down. No Sons of Fenrir anymore. Fluffy sitting in the back there on the Deal Blade, doing a great job interrupting and making sure that the Odins don't know where to look. 3 heroes left alive, 2 heroes left alive for Slavs though. It's going quickly now, some resupplies coming in. Fanblade, Langensnu, Lufas, Suricone need to be in here quickly. But can he even get on the point because it's going to get really close. Oh my god, I'm losing my mind here. And that's it. Odin's taking the first game against Slavs. Damn, that was close though. That was really close. Whew. Surprising strategies all game long. Let's take a breather. This was a quick one. Alright, turn off the overlay. Take a look what happened here. Body fat guys, 131 unit kills, 4 hero kills, but Eldit also 8 hero kills. That's amazing. Dan, typically with a lot of unit kills, this time with 2 hero kills. He started with the musket, switched to the pike in the end. Let's see what they did. Whoa, 72 shield maidens. Well, it makes sense considering how many they played, of course. There's 50. That is a lot of kills there. On the department. Good quality also. 1500 almost. That's an insane amount. You can also see like a top 3, 4, 5. Not too bad on Slav's side, but they didn't manage to kill nearly enough. You could see Lixu getting a couple of good plays there. Also Poyap, he was in there a lot. In the end, it wasn't enough, so we're gonna go to another game, and it will be a game 2. Odin's leading the match right now. You can see that final attack eventually it really started to hurt Slavs. Just doing really well. And of course, then you get a big gap in the troops and the heroes killed. So let's set up the lobby. So Slavs will be attacking next. Will be interesting to see what they decide to do here. So I feel like the Cav from Odin's really did a lot for them in that game. I'm not sure what you guys are thinking, but it definitely did look like we didn't have a lot of wait, it should be no, he's fine. Alright, definitely looked like there wasn't a lot of anti-cav from the Slav side. We're hoping to defend the A point, I think, with the Heavy Shield Maiden, the Zikalian, and also the Varangian, of course. Alright. Let's see what we got here. Bringing up the standings again. That's the rustic though, don't want to spoil you guys. Alright, here we are. So, let's see what it's gonna be. Everyone getting back into the lobby. Gotta make sure to move the casters as well. Whew, that was a quick one, boys. Hope you enjoyed that one. It's not often that I have to talk so quick. so fast. Alright, interesting. So we got another result in from the Rustec. And it's been interesting to say the least. Alright, the Rustic A group has finished, guys. If you want to check out the standings, spoiler warnings though, because you are going to get spoiled. Check them out on Challenge. But Group A has just finished. So we'll be talking about it after all the matches are done, but not right now. Let me get everybody. Where are they? I cannot be. They should be having a match here somewhere. Oh, myself, of course. Alright. Liao. Not go for it. Where was it? Was it this? Let me check. Yep. Alright, let's check if teams are ready. They should be ready. Gonna switch here as well. Slavs 0 on the attack this time. Odin's Legion 1 in the defense this time around. They should be ready. Alright, all casters ready. Now waiting for the teams. Zamblade ready with his team. Odin's ready with the team as well. And here we go. Alright. 3 games to go. This is the first one of those final 3 games. Slavs and Odin's Legion looking to finish out their season. Odin's is looking strong today. Let's find out if Slavs can make a change though. And take another point here at the end of the season. Ooh, that is a lot of muskets from Odin's. If I start to see Zakalian, I'm afraid of what will happen, but we'll see. There is a lot of Zakalian already. Also, Bodyfast, normally on Dual Blade, sitting with the longbow this time, so he will definitely be trying to interrupt that battering ram. If we're looking at Slavs, a lot of infantry again. Some monastics are coming in as well, though. Some armigers, of course, the same old Varangian and Shield Maiden that are so hot right now. Some Sifos. Even Myrmidons being played. We start to see more and more of those in some places. Still not that many, not as many as Imperial Spears. Those are very popular. Actually another Shanji for Dandan as well. Also bringing the monastics. Alright, so it looks like a lot more heavy focus on infantry, but also a good amount of Fort to Broad show. Not seeing any Modal. Which is, I guess, kind of to be expected, considering. Alright, there we go. overlay on. I actually forgot to turn on the sounds thing, so here it is. And we are ready to go. Let me double check if this is correct because I'm not hearing anything, I think. There you go. Alright, so yeah, battering ram is getting interrupted. If Slavs want to get through that gate, they're gonna have to do something about it quickly. Robochick coming in with a Ferengian, but also running by, so probably not gonna do a whole lot there. Lixu calling in a Shabbat strike, they don't want to waste any time shooting at that one. Alright, time to climb up. Fjord on the left side. And Bodyfast doing some work there. Pintro also, he's been getting 19 of those unit kills already. With the javelins, it looks like. I'm wondering where he got those. Alright, Polyap and Fluffy getting on the gate wall there. Ooh, going for the Falco, let's go. That's a good one. Yeah, there's Fluffy, he's out. Ooh, but damn then. He got the damage there. Polyap is gonna run. Alright, he's going. Ooh, but here comes Z-Mac. Oh, he decides otherwise. Surprising, actually. Feel like he should have gone for it, but decides otherwise. Odin definitely want to make the most out of this game, picking up as many of those farmers as they can. Alright, Slavs deciding we're done with this gate. Let's take it out. And rightfully so, don't waste any time waiting for a gate. Nice F1 formation here for the Bracho. You don't want them to get interrupted and to then see a team rush through. This is looking like a very efficient way to hold that gate. We continue to see some units running up here. This is not looking pretty. Someone's gotta watch those girls. Alright, game reset a little bit. Let's see where Slavs decide to go now. They got their favorite units out with the Shield Maidens and the Ferengian. Fanblade playing one unit of some defender here. Not gonna lie, it's only Shield Maiden and Ferengian and then one unit of Myrmidon. I feel like they would be very efficient at pushing through this spot here into these Fort Braccio. If they decide to, of course. Odin's, you can see, adapted some of the strategies from Novicius. Putting two Imperial shields right at those siege towers. Falconetti and Shieldmaiden sitting there on the left, by the way. Very interesting to see there. Alright, it will be a gate push. Now let's see how Odin's will react, because they did the same to Slavs. And nice rotation here from Odin's. They do not want them to go down. Nice throw there from the Falconetti. Sikalian will be coming in hot from both sides. Shenji from the left, Sikalian from the right. But big push from Slavs going to one direction. That is smart. Let's see if they can hold off the other side as well. Killing everything they can in their path over there. Now they need to circulate back around. Here comes the Cav though. Can they stop it? Yeah, they did actually stop it, Slavs. And now they're re-engaging. Looking at the monastics though, that's going to be coming. Ooh, Hurricane and Pintro. Oh, that hurt, my man. That hurt. Hurricane, big monastic charge there. Can Odin follow up and wipe this fight? It does look like it. What else can we see? Couple of guys sitting on that 8-point RGRS, and also Vanblade still fighting down there. That's only units though. Units are gone there. New resupply coming in. Ardenor with his Chevalier is doing a lot of work there, I feel like. And Odin's getting back on the 8-point quickly enough. B-point is being captured though, but that's only two guys. Lixu and Vanblade. So this requires some reaction, but there's not a lot of DPS there, so just L, that should be enough to interrupt for long enough. There comes Hurricane again with his monastics. And death time is from Slavs just about to finish now, so We can see them all spawning. And question is, are they quick enough now to get back on the A point? Because they might need to rush it a little bit, as Odins are still trying to refine their footage, but they're already there. Look at this. 3 Sicilian militia though, that is a lot of specialist units. But with that unit of Imperial shields, Varangian and shield maidens, you might have another front line to be able to hold it. Nothing at the gate right now though, so those monastics could have been going through. Then started to pick up the kills as expected of him. Still that pocket on the left there. Oh, Sicilian are gonna hurt here. That's going to be really bad for Slavs sitting at this choke point. Varangian holding really strong. Slavs picking up the kill there. Robertchik actually got a kill there. That's nice. Also, someone on the backline interrupting Shenji. That's really critical. Also, this Sicilian now, they're starting to run. Slavs is going to take control here. Can they push through though? Fluffy interrupting even more Sicilian as more bombs continue to be thrown. A lot of flames though are going off. And Slavs units are just losing too many. This shield maidens from Odin's able to clear it up. Meanwhile, Bodyfast is not here to fool around. He's not waiting and wasting any time. And back in he goes. Alright, Slavs are having a rough time on this map right now. Getting picked up on the one, only 2 alive now. It's just these two, Poyap and Lixu. And there we go. 4 minutes left on the clock. Units clearly in favor right now for Odin's, considering there is also a lot of double gold on the Slav side. All that's left for them right now is going to be blue, grey, and maybe a couple of gold, but not that many. Some Imperial shields, C-Max still having 1 unit of his Frangie, and that will be good, but I'm not sure if this is going to be enough. Feels like a B push might be the only way. Seeing double monastics, some armigers. Odins are ready for it though, they're expecting it. Double Fort Ratio once again sitting at the gate, they're quick to refine their positions. 3.5 minutes left, and this looks like to be all but over. Who knows, maybe Slavs can manage to find a really good final push, just like Bondguard had done against the Norwegians. They're gonna have to force their way in, that's for sure. Not that many specialist units anymore here. Oh, nice flamers there. Who's are those? Alright, those flamers are going to be very critical. Watch the flames from Slavs. They will probably decide whether they're going to win this fight or not. The Zicalian from Dan though, they are going to be also very important. If they can counter those flamers, that will be absolutely amazing for Odin's. Oh, nice flank there coming in from Slavs from the other side as well. Odin's not sure if they want to defend this A point right now. They need to move back from the gate and go up, because if they give Slavs too much time, they will be able to get this point here. Charge coming in through the gate though now. Those monastics are getting through a lot, but that's not going to be everything. Slavs fighting really strong here. They are ready to make a final stance here. Slavs are not here to waste their season. They want to finish this out with a bang and make sure that everybody knows that they're here to fight. Odins are regaining control though. It looks like Slavs burn out of steam. All their units are gone. Only Lixu once again left. Vanblade, their team captain, wants to make it work, but he sees his team is gone. He's down as well. It's only 1 hero left alive, and he's on a run. Let's see where Dova can bring in. Suricone, there you go. Quad kill for Dova. Nice game from him. And it's a Sally. 130. This game is all but dusted. GG, well played to both teams. Ragnarok, actually team captain, picking up 111 unit kills. He might very well be going home with an MVP after today. We'll have to wait and see. I was promising you guys to take a look at the devs, so we're gonna have to find those guys who got most devs after this game. Let me just... Alright, C-Mac and Hurricane. Alright, I saw Hurricane do a lot of stuff in this game with his monastics, so he must be happy to have those. Oh, Fluffy trying to make some big kills here on Offshell. Can he get him though? Nope, he cannot. Yeah, alright, Slavs guys, just chilling right now. Nothing to be seen here. Let's get some nice music going. Alright, end of the season for these guys. 20 seconds left on the clock. Odins want to get some more kills. Rektaluk just respawning right now. Odin's finishing another season. After being third in Rustic, they look to be going 4th or 5th in the Feudal division this season. Very well done. GG to both teams. And that was a quick game once again. Alright, Odin's take it 2-0. Hurricane and Z-Mac had 35 hero kills at the end of last round. And today, let's see if we can find C-Mac here. There is 3 hero deaths and we have Hurricane with 1. So I have a feeling that C-Mac might be taking most deaths in this round. We'll wait and find out though. Blade getting the FP as the captain. Great job by him. Still managing to find so many unit kills in a match that is rough as this one for the Slavs team. We'll be saying goodbye to Slavs for the Field Division after this season. They will be playing in the Rustic Division hopefully next season though. And there I am expecting some great things from them. Ruffle picking up the MVP and look at Dan. He was definitely out for blood today, picking up only 2 in the first game with 10 in the second. Damn, if he had done the same in that first one, then maybe he could have contested for that first place. Alright, good to see, good to see. And look at these fights. 3 really big fights. Slavs just couldn't really find their footing here in this match. Odin's had a clear game strategy and it worked out for them. They rotated quickly enough on the gate when the Whoosh came in from Slavs. And also were quick enough to get back on the A point, which is